In this video, we're going to cover two problems, and we want to figure out in each table if the data represents a linear, quadratic, or exponential relationship. So the nice thing about these two problems is we could use the TI Inspire to figure out our answers. Starting off with example A, let's jump into our Inspire software. The first thing that we're going to want to do is add in data into my calculator, and we're going to add it into a list and spreadsheet page. And to get to that page, I'm going to go to my home key, and then I click new document. I'm not going to save anything, and I add in lists and spreadsheets. So this page comes up, and I'm going to label my A column X, and my B column will be labeled Y. And I'm going to proceed to enter in all the data under my X column. After all my data in my X column is entered, I'm going to go up to my Y, where X is 0, and I enter in all my Y values. After all my Y values are entered in, I'm going to put all these data points onto a scatter plot. And I do that by adding in a data and statistics page by hitting Control Document to add in a new page. I'm going to select number 5, add data and statistics. And then I'm going to move down here to the bottom of my screen, and we're going to click to add a variable. And the variable I'm going to add in is an X. So all my X values have been plotted. And then I move over here, click it, and select Y, and all my Y values are entered. Now, the whole goal of this problem is to figure out if the data represents a linear relationship or quadratic or exponential relationship. So I'm going to start adding in some regression lines and curves. The first one I'm going to test out is a linear regression. So I'm going to go to Menu, and then Analyze, then down to Regression, and I'm going to click one of my linear options. So I'm going to go with number 1, and you see a line of best fit that goes through it, and you've got some points above it, some below it, some above it here. So let's check the residual plot to see if this would be a good fit. So I go to Menu, Analyze, Residual, and then Show Residual Plot. And if you look at the residual plot, there's definitely a pattern here. There's a U, and that's not good. That means that our line right here of best fit is not a good approximation of the data. Chances are it's not a linear function, or well, it doesn't have a linear relationship. So let's go back to our original screen. So I'll go to Menu, Analyze, and then Hide Linear. So here's our original screen, and now let's try a quadratic regression. So I go to Menu, Analyze, down to Regression, and I'm going to go with quadratic. So it seems like it's a pretty good fit, right? It looks like this curve is running through all my data a little bit better. So I'm going to check out the residual plot, Menu, Analyze, Residuals, Residuals, and then Show Residual Plot. And on my residual plot, I have a bunch of data above and below this horizontal line. They're scattered. It looks pretty random. So that's going to be a pretty good fit. So the next one that we want to try is a exponential regression. And chances are it's probably not going to beat this. So I'm going to go back to Menu, Analyze, Hide Quadratic. And I go Menu, Analyze, Regression. And I'm going to try that exponential regression. So I go ahead and do that, and that one looks pretty good too. But let's check out that residual plot. And if you look at the residual plot, it looks really good right here. We got points almost right on that horizontal line where the distance between the observed data and the curve is nearly 0. But over here, it kind of tapers downwards. That's not going to be so good. We don't want that. I'd rather go with that quadratic relationship. Okay, so that was example A. Let's move on to example B and get back into our Inspire software. To this problem, I'm going to start off with a new document. So I go to my home key, and select new document. I'm not going to save anything. And I'm going to add in a new list in spreadsheets. First column will be X, second column will be Y. And I'm going to start off by entering in all my X values. After all my X values are plugged in, I'll do my Y values. Alright, when all my data is plugged in, I'm going to add in a new page. It's going to be a data and statistics page to plot all my data on a scatter plot. So if I click down here on the bottom, I'll use my X column is my horizontal axis, and then my vertical axis will be my Y values, and you'll see the scatter plot. Now again, we want to figure out if this is a linear relationship, quadratic relationship, or exponential relationship. And at a glance, it doesn't look like it's going to be linear, so I'm going to just skip that for now. I'm going to go to Menu, Analyze Graph, and I'm going to try to, I'm going to try to do a quadratic regression. So I pick Show Quadratic, and my curve gets fit in there, and it doesn't even look like it's that great, but I'm going to check out the residual plot to see, and sure enough, when I look at that residual plot, I see a curve or a pattern that goes up, and then it comes back down, and then it goes up again. So because there's a pattern there, we probably don't want to go with this quadratic regression. So I'm going to go to Menu, Analyze, Regression, and hide quadratic to get rid of that. And I'm going to try to do a exponential regression. So I go to Menu, Analyze, Regression, go back there, Menu, Analyze, Regression, and I'm going to show exponential. So that curve seems to fit the data a little bit better. Let's check out the residual plot. Menu, Analyze, Residuals, and Show Residual Plot. And this one looks a little bit better. You've got data below, above, below, 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 above, and it's scattered a little bit more. You have a data point a little bit higher here, but that'll be okay for now. So we'll go with a exponential relationship between the X and Y values here.